I'm here at my friend and fellow master naturalist Debbie's house, and she loves birds, and she's going to show us all the cool things she has set up for the wild birds around her yard.
My name is Debbie Reynolds, and I'm a bird watcher. By no means an ornithologist, just a bird watcher, but I do care about birds and talking about how to prevent bird strikes on your home. Statistics show that there's about 1 billion bird strikes every year on windows, whether it's homes or office buildings or any place that has glass that reflects the outdoors. And you can see behind me in this big picture window that it definitely reflects on this big huge elm tree and the dogwood in front of it.
I'll show you guys how reflective this is here. Hello!
What happened if the birds hung out in my front yard is that it's very possible that they would start or go somewhere they would just think that's a continuation of the outdoors and fly right into the window and either knock themselves out, kill themselves, or fly away somewhere else and have some kind of injury that will kill them. So what you do is you study your house and see where the bird traffic is. I feed birds and I feed them over here and in the backyard. The feeding and the birding goes this way in my yard and not necessarily this way. So again, I don't find that this is problematic. And then over here I have this massive ash tree, which is just a great bird highway. The pileated woodpeckers come down here. All the woodpeckers come down here. The nuthatches, the little brown creepers. And so I situated my bird feeder here so that there's places for the birds to be and come and look and make sure it's safe and also have safe shelter from hawks. And then the bird bath is over there. But we do have windows here. And the window coverage that I have is screen on the outside. And you can tell if you look at this window, there's a screen on the outside plus there's curtains. The reflection is non-existent over here. Is they'll fly from here to the backyard and guess what? Bam, right into the windows. So we don't want that to happen. So we have done something with the back windows here. Well, because this is just going to attract the birds because it reflects the trees and stuff like that, and the flight path is this way, put heads together with a friend of mine who really came up with this idea. And these windows came with screens on the inside. And it never even occurred to me to think that I should have screens on the outside because screens will act as a trampoline if a bird happens to hit it. So then we had to kind of figure out what are we going to do with the outside of these windows. And you can go to Home Depot and get these hooks and things and kind of make it cut to order for your own window. So you kind of screw the hooks in down here. And this is just something that you put up your shades and your drapes with in your house. You screw that, you make it work. And then you do the same thing up at the top. And these are just filthy from the winter, of course. But they're just little, I don't even know what you call these, brackets that you slide the screen in. And then these are, what do you call these little thingies?
Cable ties.
Yeah.
Those are Zookeeper's
Cable
best
ties.
friend.
That's all it is. And then you just put them back down here in the hooks, make it go taut. If I can get it up here, hang on, there we go. And turn the hooks down so it holds it in place. Bring the hook up, put the little blue flop in there, turn it that way, and you use this so that it becomes like a trampoline for a bird. So if for some reason he decides or she decides to hit it, it's like, bam. And
Nice.
oh, I guess I can't fly there. So you can see that they've been sort of throwing their little poop as they go by on this thing, but it works. If you wanted to open this window, you could put this here and just do two of them, so that the window is still free to open. And I did that on the other side, so that you can open that window rather than have the one continuous thing.
So you got two separate.
You can't
ones
open the window
going
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here we're looking basically from where you sit on your couch and you're looking out, and you really can't tell that those are there at all.
You really can't. It's like if you had a screen on your screen window.
And there you can see where the birds fly through there, what we were talking about earlier too.
Mm-hmm.
And some super cool bird art.
And your windows might automatically come with the screens on the outside too, like ours do. So these just sit right on the outside and then the glass is on the inside part. Hey, what are you doing?
Right, so there's another way besides the screening to take care of your windows and help prevent bird strikes. And that is by using this American Bird Conservancy bird tape. It comes in it's $10.95. It's a nice big roll, so I think I used one of these big rolls to do all my windows here. All you do is you clean off the windows, and then this tape goes on, and it's easy to take off. You have to put it up about 4 inches between each tape, and then if you do that, the birds figure out they can't go through it, and so they avoid it. I did it for the upper windows here. I have not done it for the lower ones, and I noticed that I do have the remnants of a bird strike down here. But because my bird feeder is not very far from the windows, chances are he didn't kill himself, and hopefully he didn't do enough damage to not survive in the future. But what this tells me is that I need to clean this window off and put more tape down. This tape is not transparent, it's opaque. And so the only difference between this really and the homemade screening is that you can see this from the inside. And some people may not want that to happen. There are other decals that you can buy that, like snowflakes if you want to do that, but again, a couple of snowflakes on here isn't going to do the trick. It has to be spaced evenly so that they figure they can't fly through it. So this works, but frankly, I think I prefer the screening, from a standpoint of just my own viewing out the window.
So this is what it looks like looking out from your living room. Like there is an obstructed view a little bit, but it's not like you can't see out your window.
Right, no, you can't.
It's there, it's not in the way. Right.
And it saves birds' lives.
Right.
What's that?
What do we have in our window?
Have some animals. With those animals.
Yeah. So here's what we have on our big giant picture window that we just put in, and we haven't finished it yet because there's a big space there, but trying to space out some of the stickers. Does it look kind of junky?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. It does. What do you think?
Different way.
You think it looks great?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. So yeah, it does look kind of junky, but it will help the birds during migration so they don't smack into that window. Are there certain times of year that, like, let's say someone doesn't want it all year round? Are there certain times of year where you say, like, this is the most important time of year for you to have your windows covered? If you're only going to do it part of the year, this would be the best.
So there's a program called Lights Out, and Audubon runs that, and so does the American Bird Conservancy and every bird organization in the world, frankly. And they have worked with a lot of downtown councils to get buildings and the building managers to get buildings to dim their lights during the peak migration. And there are 2 peak migration times, and we'll talk to Minnesota since that's what we do. And that would be March and April and early May. And then in the fall, it would be September and October and early November, and maybe a little bit of the end of August. So you need to have the screens up for that time period. The rest of the time period, your local birds kind of know where the windows are. And it's not so much, but it's the migratory birds that are coming through and grabbing a snack and going that just don't get. There's also another method that, one thing I was thinking about trying too in the future, is just you can buy parachute cord, and then you put a rod up here, and then you put these little thin pieces of parachute cord and you anchor them down here, and it gives the same effect
Oh, sure.
as a screen or something like that, and the birds won't go to it, they'll go through it. So there are many different ways, and other than feral cats and habitat loss, this is the 3rd most horrible thing that you can do for a bird is have a window strike. So 1 billion birds, that's a lot. And even if that's on the high end, let's just say it's 500 million birds. I mean, that's a lot of birds. And it's 10 birds for my windows, and it's 10 birds for her windows, and it's 10 birds for their windows, and it adds up.
Mm-hmm.
And it adds up all over the world. So you need to you need to look at your house, you need to do what's right for your environment.
What are some places that people can look for resources to get into birding? They're like, I like birds, I don't know where to start. What can they look for?
Well, there are so many great websites. Obviously, Audubon.org has a lot of tips on birding. And if you're a member, and you can be a member, I don't know, for like $25 or $10, wherever you get their magazine, and there's always tips and tricks in there. And of course, a lot of that's online too, if you're not a magazine person. The Cornell Lab of Ornithology has a wonderful website. American Bird Conservancy, who makes this tape, has a great website, great tips and tricks. There's the ABA, the American Bird Association. And also, people worry about feeding birds. We're going to talk about feeding birds just for a minute. You notice this is a clean bird feeder. The tray doesn't have anything gooky on it. And the seeds on the inside are nice and clean and fresh. You got to keep your bird feeders clean. If you're going to feed your birds, you got to wash out the tubes, because you know it rains and everything on them off and on, and it just gets gucky and they'll get sick. So you have to keep up with the cleaning as well.
What's that mouse?
What?
What's that mouse?
No, there's no mouse in there. We're gonna clean the bird feeder.
That's Bubbles.
Bubbles in there, yeah.
Oh. Bubbles. Bubbles, that's Bubbles.
This is a birch tree. It actually was planted in here before I moved into the house, and it really was just not the right spot for it, and so it was pretty dead. So I had some people come out and trim off all the dead branches and stuff like that, but I asked them to leave the whole stump with some kind of perches up top. And over the last 4 or 5 years, as it's gotten buggier, I guess, it is just a woodpecker magnet. I have woodpeckers and flickers and nuthatches, and it's just great.
It's like a buffet.
It's like a buffet. You know, they come and get a little suet, a little seed, and they play over here and get a little bug. It's really